Wakefit was founded by Chaitanya, Ramalingegowda and Ankit Garg in 2016. The company has serviced over 8 lakh customers, sold over 18 lakh products, and has spent at least 1,500 hours in R&D. The Wakefit team prides itself on being customer-centric and provides customers with the very best home and sleep solutions. The founders spent their initial years talking to customers to understand their needs better and to create products that cater to those needs. Their shift from being just a mattress company alone is to be commended. Today, they have wooden shelves to bookcases to home furniture to living room furniture. Wakefit is an organization that's growing, and let's find out. What a wonderful journey you've had, Chaitanya. I'm really impressed with what you and Ankit have done. Thank you for being on the upstreamlife.com. I want to talk about that journey. It was not an easy journey, a lot of struggles. I want to go into the detail of that.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Vishal. It's always a pleasure to reconnect and restart these conversations. As you already know, back in 2015 when Ankit and I met, we were coming out of very different phases of our lives. So I had just closed on 2 of my startups. Ankit had closed on 1 of his startups. And then we both ended up meeting in a Sequoia funded startup. So I was VP Ops, he was reporting to me. But despite the 9-year age gap, we ended up connecting because our life journeys were pretty similar. Nomadic childhood, go where your dad gets transferred, then do decent education, then work in a decent set of companies, and then try something out of your comfort zone. And then that didn't work out for whatever reasons. And that's where we were, empty bank balances, but big dreams. And about 6 months later, Ankit had this idea that maybe there is some space that we can do something in mattresses. That was a small trigger. I still remember the coffee day where we sat and met. We spoke about the idea and we decided to start a company again. Like I always say, it's part stupidity and part stubbornness. We had barely saved about 2-3 lakhs each from our jobs, and so we restarted that journey.
You know, starting out in mattresses when there were so many traditional brands, a very disorganized industry. What was the hunch that Ankit and you had, and especially talking in that coffee shop, right? What came together? Did you see this as something that would go that deep? You've gone quite deep into sleep solutions. So we'll get into that. But why choose mattresses? You could have chosen coffee beans, for example, for all you know it.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. I think entrepreneurship teaches you humility. And the biggest humility that you learn is that customers know what they want, just that you need to be able to be open-minded to listen to them. What we figured out, we had no ambitions as big as Wakefit currently is. We had no clue it was going to get this big. But the simple hunch was that Ankit knew the supply side. He said, I know the cost of raw materials, I know the cost of labor, but the selling price at which the mattresses are being sold, there's some disconnect. Me being an MBA and knowing some of the demand side from my startups, we figured out that there might be room for a small new brand that is going to sell online. And if you remember, this is 2015 when everybody was going the asset light route. They said, I want to be the Uber of X. And here we were thinking that we'll set up a mattress factory and then service our customers. So it's very contrarian thinking, but we only went from 2 perspectives. First, let the customers lead you. Secondly, do what you know best. Ankit knew the supply side very well. I knew the demand side very well. And literally that came together and we started in a very small way.
Okay. Now, I want to talk about going deep in it. Like you said, everybody wanted to be a platform at that time, but a contrarian view, you set up manufacturing facilities. A different topic altogether because nobody would fund you at that point of time if it said, I have a manufacturing facility. How did you find the first manufacturer? Did you find a contract manufacturer or did you go buy a manufacturing unit? You want to talk about those initial few days where you were also the customer service person, you were also the salesperson. How did you handle that?
No, you're absolutely right. Nobody funded us for the next 3 years. And it was a very contrarian view because investors just did not understand that lens. Investors also view the world from a set of frames of references, and we didn't fit into any of those. So we remained unfunded for 3 years, but it was a blessing in disguise. And like you rightly said, as a founder, you're the peon also, you're the security guard also, you're the CEO also. So we did everything that needed to be done. And it's a fascinating time. When we started, we used to get a contract manufacturer. So every 2 days, 3 days, one order would come. We would pick up the phone, call that person and say, this is the SKU, this is the thickness. On 7 days later, we will send you FedEx to pick up the mattress from your factory. And that's where things started. And later on, we moved into a lot of assembly. We used to buy foam from somebody, fabric from somebody, and then put together a mattress and then ship it out. Later, we moved into manufacturing the foam itself on our own. So we went through the complete journey because we were bootstrapped and we had both put in a few lakhs from our own pockets. We didn't have the ability to even set up a ground floor factory. Our first factory was in the third floor. So every evening we used to pulley down the mattresses through a rope and pulley system, and it would then be lowered into a truck of FedEx. So that is the time that we started, and that's when things started slowly progressing.
Survival also makes you innovate, and you'd bootstrapped yourself, but you're also one of the few companies to redesign the way mattresses are shipped. I bought your mattress many years ago, and it came in a rectangle box,
Right.
and would spread itself when opened. Right? Was that an innovation internally?
No, that was a technology that existed globally. We were one of the pioneers to bring it to India. Whether it is a 100-day trial, whether it is roll packing and sending it in a very compact box, which saves logistics cost, plus it delights the customer. Kids love it. People send us videos of them unboxing and kids jumping on it. So it ended up being a delight as well as saving costs. But we tried these small incremental things. And even today, a lot of journalists and investors ask us, what is your secret sauce? It's actually never one thing. We've done a series of hundreds of things every day, which has added up to where we are today.
Yeah, and D2C was such a big category at the time. I remember everyone told me that, okay, there are no Indian brands, less than 50 Indian brands or something of that sort. Now they predict that there'll be 6,000 Indian brands. Did D2C change everything? Do you think the whole fact that there was, Amazon, Flipkart, of course, and the fact that you'd have your own website where people would come and buy, did that game change everything for you? Did people take the brand online and then experience it? Obviously, you had a 100-day free trial that you offered. And I mean, you have a 10-year return policy or something of that sort, right?
Warranty.
Warranty period. That's phenomenal. How do you manage all these pieces? Have a manufacturing facility, do a D2C, have experience centers. You have 22 experience centers now. How did you manage all that? And that to being bootstrapped, it's phenomenal.
Everything was a step-by-step journey, and you brought up a few very important questions. People think D2C is a channel. It's actually not. D2C is a way of life and way of thinking. What it means is you can still sell through a retailer, you can sell through your own offline channel, you can sell through marketplaces, you can sell through your own mobile website or app. But you're D2C in your way of thinking in the sense that you're constantly talking to your customers. There is no middleman. And you're not depending on a Nielsen or a Kantar to give you consumer insights every 2 years. You're literally knowing what they think, what they love, what they don't love about your product every single day. Because we get thousands of calls every day inbound, and we make thousands of calls outbound to collect feedback and reviews and so forth from our customers. So that means irrespective of where you sell the product, D2C is a very different way of life altogether. So having said that, all of these things that you talked about happened step by step. Manufacturing became our ability to give highly innovative products that we could innovate on every month rather than depend on somebody else, while at the same time control the costs. So we are able to give an industry beating product at about 30 to 40% lesser price point and give 100-day trial policy. And when we actually opened up the 100-day trial policy, we had a ton of sleepless nights. Ankit and I worried because nobody had done this for this industry, and April return statistics were about 30 to 40%. We said if that metric is repeated in our category, we have to literally shut down. But we said, let's take it. What is the worst that can happen? We will then figure out and then course correct. But it turned out to be a big pleasant surprise where customers actually valued it. And then they started trusting us a lot more as an unknown brand and gave us some of their hard-earned money to try us out. And then we earned that trust after that.
And it was also do it yourself, I remember. You take measurements yourself, put it on the website, buy it.
Yes.
And I think, like you said, the kids would have loved it. And you also, when you focused on the solution as a sleep solution, you spoke about sleeping better. You spoke about, you need to have a good backrest when you sleep.
Yes.
You focused on all these scientific aspects, and you just didn't sell a mattress.
True, true.
Why was that important?
I think all of the incumbents we're talking about very superficial innovations, that we have this denim covered mattress or this quilting makes the mattress look good. Nobody was talking about how the quality of sleep itself gets better. And what common people, even we didn't know until we entered this industry, was that a mattress looks like a simple slab of foam, but there's a ton of science that goes into it. Are you getting the right support for your spine? Is your blood circulation actually being hampered or free flowing? Thirdly, are you getting the right back support? Fourthly, are you able to have enough breathability so that your body temperature comes down and you sleep better? So there's a ton of things that go in material sciences, and it's technology but not information technology that everybody is used to. So when we create a mattress, put it out there, it goes through stress testing, humidity testing, temperature testing, roll testing, ball testing, which means can we simulate every stress, every temperature, every humidity condition across the country that a mattress will go through for 10 years in a laboratory, and then see that these materials are actually holding up. Even at the 10th year, when we are giving a 10-year warranty, it should still perform the same way. So can we get some confidence? That's what we set out to do. And when we started talking about the benefits of sleep, rather than saying this is just a tool, but benefits of sleep are everything else. Your lifestyle, fitness, meditation, every single thing comes together. That's when people started associating us with sleep.
So you are saying that you have to be thorough with product. There is no excuse to it. Where does that stem from? Is that because of your character? Is it because of your mentoring of other people teaching you how to be? Because a lot of people say that if you don't get these aspects of product quality right from the beginning, and you will definitely lose. The foundation is not set, and your company will collapse no matter how much money you raise. The reason I ask this is so that every founder should know. Now, why do you have to set certain aspects of a company right before you start up? How important was that to you?
I think two aspects were extremely important to us. First was the quality of the product, and second was the post sale service. So in the quality of the product, one thing we realized is that although the mattress industry is 50 to 60 years old in India, there are no industry bodies which certify a product. There are just no standards. There's nothing like ISI for mattresses. So we realized that if we have to play in this market, have a high quality product, nobody is there to hold us accountable. So we have to hold ourselves accountable. So can we constantly push the boundaries, take global best practices and incorporate that into our products? So that was the driver for us to say that if we have manufacturing facilities and if we are constantly innovating and there is no other industry body, that means this is the clear differentiator for us. So today our orthopedic memory foam mattress is in its 18th version or 19th version. Nobody asked us to do it. We could have just sat with the first version that we launched in 2016. Nobody pushed us, nobody asked, nobody said make it better. So we had to do that in order to stay ahead, ensure that we are innovating and customers love what we are doing.
I like what you said. You don't want to be a trader. You don't want to be a trader because we've done that for long enough. Let us build a product that's global standard.
Correct.
So you set the bar.
Correct.
And would people measure you, or how do you measure yourself?
3 or 4 things. The first one is that, like I said, as a direct to consumer customer, D2C company, when customers love something or hate something, we know it immediately. There was this case about 5 years ago where one batch of foam was a little softer than what we had anticipated, and about 30 mattresses went out. And within a week of those deliveries happening, they were calling us and complaining to us that this is soft. So we knew which batch and what had gone wrong. We directly recalled those mattresses and replaced the mattresses free of cost. So that means we have a very rapid feedback loop. The second thing that ends up happening is social media, where people are either happy or unhappy and they go share and vent. The third thing is the reviews. So when customers are happy, they go and leave those reviews. We have over 3 lakh reviews today. Last metric, which is a lagging indicator, is the return rates. If your mattress or any product return rates go up within the trial period, you know you've screwed up somewhere. So it's better to go and check that out and fix that loophole.
And you fix that feedback mechanism through technology, or would you have a set of people who take this feedback and come to you and say, Chaitanya, this is what our customers say, or did you and Ankit do it from the beginning?
Initially it was Ankit and me. Later it was people dependent, where there was a bunch of team members who would constantly do this. Then it became a process. Now it is technology driven. where whatever feedback is collected, whatever mechanisms we are able to collect, they're analyzed, and by product we know based on the word cloud and based on text analysis that these are the kinds of themes that are coming out. People are unhappy about the delivery experience here. People are unhappy about the material quality here. People are unhappy about the actual carpenter installation of something that they've bought. So we know those and then we act on it. And that is a clear feedback loop from the customer facing team to the platform to the R&D team.
Okay, today you're a Make in India brand. Would you, can I take a preview to say that you're 100% manufactured in India?
Yes, 100%.
Everything sourced locally?
Yes.
How many members in the manufacturing side?
Raw materials come from all over the world, including India, but it's 100% manufactured in India. The team that is handling the manufacturing itself is close to 1,000 people. And on top of that, there are another 1,000 odd people who come and go on contract basis. On a side note, I think the thing that gives Ankit and me the most pride is the fact that about 3,000 people every day wake up and come to Wakefit and spend their day here as our team members. I think by the way, that's what makes us very, very happy.
So it's 8 factories?
8 to 9 factories.
And you have X number of retail stores today. That's something that I want to talk about. You want to move into retail. But I want you to talk about the transition from a sleep solutions to a home solutions company. Was that easy, or was it because of the fundraise that you had to do it? You've raised about 450 crore to date from some marquee investors. You're edging close to 700 crores in revenues, which is phenomenal. What made you take these steps? Move from a sleep solutions D2C company to a home solutions D2C company to now retail stores. You want to talk about that journey?
Sure. So going back to our first principle of how we started, we said we have to have the humility to listen to customers. So every product expansion has been because of that. Every channel expansion has been because of that. So when we were just doing mattresses, customers started asking for pillows and bed sheets. We got into that. When we started doing that well, they started asking us for bed frames, saying that I'm buying bed frames from somewhere else, why not buy from you? So we got into that. And slowly, as our confidence in building bed frames got better, our confidence in saying that it's the same factory, same capability that can be used for all other furniture, that gave us the wings to say that we can try. And that's where we expanded into complete furniture and home solutions over about 2 years ago. 2020 is when we started.
Now you want to go to retail. It's an experimental phase, I know. You want to talk about
I think we are past the experimental phase. The last 18 months have been experimental, where we opened up about 22 experience centers across the country. And that gave us a lot of data to say that for some of the products that we have in our portfolio, customers do want to touch and feel, even if it is not for a long time, or even if it is not for all of their purchases. At least for the first purchase, they may want to touch and feel. That again came from customers. And once this data proved, we are now modernizing and expanding these 22 experience centers from about 500 square foot facilities to larger 3,000 square foot facilities.
Okay. I look at you and I look at your leadership capabilities. You're a quiet, unassuming person. You motivate people. You're a man of very few words, but you're able to guide your entire team. Has the team size got bigger? How have you managed to delegate work? How have you set up an organization that lasts? The reason I'm asking this is because you and I know what's happening to the startup ecosystem. There's too many exits in the short run rather than building institutions. How important is that for you, coming from a middle class background, knowing that our parents struggled, moved around? How important is it for you to set up institutions? Are you a man of institutions, or would you say it's okay to exit quick?
As we were kids growing up in Bangalore, we used to read stories about Infosys, how even Mr. Narayan Murthy's driver was earning ESOPs, and through that he was able to build a home, a stable life for himself. Those were motivational days for us, and we had no clue that we were getting impacted by those news articles that we were reading. Today, as we are about 1,700 people on payroll, another 1,200 on contract, the one thing that we love is that we are helping these people create a stable home for themselves. They are able to have ESOPs. We are one of the few companies where shop floor executives, customer facing executives, they all have ESOPs. So if they are contributing to Wakefit, being part of that journey, then they should benefit and create wealth for themselves. That has been the simple philosophy. But at a personal level, there is a big dichotomy. On the one hand, I am a big believer in building legacies and institutions that last beyond people. It should, one day we should be able to say that neither Ankit nor Chaitanya are there, but Wakefit had stayed. Customer love has still stayed. They trust us for something. On the other hand, I also believe that I am very detached. So at any point in time when I feel I'm not adding value enough to Wakefit, I would be very comfortable taking a step back and walking away and being a shareholder and saying that I do not need to have executive rights to contribute to Wakefit. So I
So
think
you test yourself also.
all the time, all the time. If I feel I'm not motivated and contributing to Wakefit, there is no place for me here. There's absolutely no place. I have earned my right to be here only to this day. I do not earn the right to be here for another 10 years. That has to be earned every day. So, on the one hand, I want to build legacy institutions. On the other hand, I also believe I don't need to be attached to that.
But that's a very different philosophy. It's very interesting. When I look at the market out there, it's very different. As a journalist, I noticed that this is the philosophy that you need, as a founder, you can't be too attached. What stage are we in the startup ecosystem to talk about this form of maturity that you have? Are we getting there?
I think we are a little too harsh on the ecosystem. Uh, the startup ecosystem itself in India is about 14-15 years old. Flipkart and all those Myntra, they all started around 2007, 8, 9, and it's been just 15 years. And we've seen too many ups and too many downs in this short time frame, just because of global liquidity reasons. So cash has come in, cash has gone out, and that has created big waves of ups and downs in
Shocks.
India.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean anything. But the important thing is startup founders, every generation of them are getting more and more mature. They're creating jobs. They're focusing on things that are right, trying to build companies that stay longer than them and go global. And you will see that this decade you're going to see much better, and 2030s you're going to see even better. It's just that we as founders are very impatient and we expect the results to be much faster. But if you just take a step back and see what we've done in 15 years and what can be done in the next 15 years, I really think we are in the right direction. Just that a lot of founders might need a bit of coaching, a bit of directional inputs, a bit of role models from previous generation of founders. I think that'll sort itself out.
Okay, quickly, what next for Wakefit? Sleep to home solutions to, is it a data and technology company now?
We've always been data and technology led. We have a large tech and data science team, and we try to take as many decisions as possible using data. So that has always been a part of our DNA. Our CTO, our head of data science, our head of product, they're all focused on that. And I think in terms of next steps, there are 3 or 4 things. Firstly, it's no longer Ankit and Chaitanya show. We have a very capable leadership team that's driving the next wave of growth. Secondly, we want to go omni-channel in a truly deep manner. Third one, we want to expand into as many SKUs and categories as possible so that we are a complete home solutions company. Even today we say we are home solutions, but we would be very happy if we cover everything and be a destination. Just like when somebody wants to buy anything, they just start their search on Amazon. We want them to start their search on Wakefit. Whether they buy from us or not is secondary. That's the destination kind of a feel that we want to leave in people's minds.
Okay, last 2 questions may be difficult. Your guide to happiness. We spoke about the dichotomy that you are facing as an entrepreneur, but what is your guide to happiness? And my last question would be books, pieces of art, or documentaries or movies that you'd recommend to our audience.
Guide to happiness for me is to have a purpose in life. If it cannot be just monetary, it cannot be just some numerical target you're choosing. What is the purpose that's getting you out of bed? I think if you don't find that, everything else is meaningless. For me currently, it will evolve for every person, but for me currently it is building Wakefit, whatever it means, to the best extent of my possible capabilities. In terms of pieces of art, books and so forth, there is this beautiful thin book, 2 books actually. One is called Jonathan Livingston Seagull and the second one is called Man's Search for Meaning. Jonathan Livingston Seagull basically says that it's not the environment or the culture or the winds that are stopping you from soaring. It's your own mental capabilities and mental restrictions that you are putting from soaring to the full potential that you can. It's about a seagull who discovers the joy of flying. Man's Search for Meaning is about a person called Viktor Frankl, who was in the concentration camps in by the Nazis. He came out of that more hopeful, more positive than he went in. That is such a dichotomy. You've gone in, you've seen tremendous amounts of suffering, you've seen your own family slaughtered, but you come out a more positive person. And he has found out and created a new school of thought in psychology that was very different from Carl Jung and Freud, which said that if you have the right purpose, you in life, you will discover the right ways to exist. So, Man's Search for Meaning and Jonathan Livingston Seagull.
It's an absolute pleasure, I must tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, we know what gets him out of bed, but get back into bed, check out Wakefit, check out their home solutions. Thank you very much for watching the upstreamlife.com. Thank you very much, Chaitanya.
Thanks for having me, Vishal.
Thank you.